Hey, hi, how are you? My name's Felt, and we're back in some Destiny. Today we got a video about Strand, so in case you missed it, Strand is now unlocked. You can go, and you can buy everything. You see these little check marks? That means I bought everything, including all these fragments. It also gives you access to an exotic quest for a cool new gun, but that's not the point of this video. We're instead going to be talking about my Strand build and what I've been doing, what I've been having fun with. Uh, this is the gist of what my armor build is. If you recognize these symbols, that's great. If not, I'll be going through it anyways. But I just kind of wanted to show off this general thing. And I will also show off via this menu here. I will very quickly go through it, and you can pause the video at any point in time throughout any of these sections here, so you can see exactly what I'm using before I go through and explain why I'm using what I am using. I will also show off my artifact mod, because this actually does impact my decisions a little bit, because you do have a really powerful strand artifact mod this season. Rapid final blows with the strand weapon grant you weapon unraveling rounds, meaning that you can skip out on building into unraveling rounds if you just choose this artifact mod. I think it's really powerful. I think unraveling rounds are pretty good. They help with AoE damage, which is something that strand lacks a little bit. But that's kind of personal preference. If you don't want to use unraveling rounds, you just won't have it as part of this build. Let's go into detail about what I'm using and why. Number one, just using the only aspects Hunter has, because Hunter only has them. I use Gambler's Dodge because I like it for when I do actually use my dodge. I like Gambler's Dodge much more than Marksman Dodge. Technically speaking, to make this build work better, you should probably be using Marksman Dodge because it gives you a lower base cooldown, but that is a little bit of preference. And I personally highly recommend the Shackle Grenade for reasons we'll get into soon, but Shackle Grenade just suspends everything in a nearby radius, and suspending stuff is really incredibly strong. It takes enemies out of the fight entirely and basically makes you invincible, so to speak, in the way that freezing everything with stasis makes you not take damage. Suspending everything with strand makes you not take damage. However, with strand, they often get forced into displaying their crit spot, making them much easier to rip through afterwards. Fragments, since we have access to all of them, these are the ones that I've been using and I think are really good. Thread of Continuity, because suspend effects, most importantly, but also unravel and sever effects, have increased duration. Suspend effects having increased duration is insane. Stuff was already out of the fight for like 5 seconds ahead of time. Now they're going to be out of the fight for like 7 seconds. I don't actually know the numbers. I'm just going to spitballing here, but increased duration is insane for suspend. I think this is going to get nerfed. Thread of Generation is really, really powerful because dealing damage generates grenade energy. If you're just kind of unloading with a submachine gun, your energy just goes up and up and up and up and up. Thread of Warding, I like Woven Mail. Woven Mail, good. I like being tanky. Thread of Ascent, making it so that when I throw my grenade ability, I reload everything, get an effectiveness and increased handling, as well as just a flat 10 mobility. Just a really nice thing for Hunter. Hunter has double grenades anyways through one of our aspects here, so may as well kind of spec into the grenades as is. Personally, I highly recommend using a strand weapon for this type of build, because you'll be able to get great value out of it through stuff like, hatchlings. You can make threadlings by killing stuff. And if nothing else, you can just heavily spec into the idea of, I'm going to be using strand as my primary ad clear, so I'm going to spec into it a little bit. You saw some of the mods earlier. The bottom line is I'm running siphons for my orb generation so that I can get my woven mail. I am running basically just get my stuff back by using my stuff on my gloves here. So Focusing Strike, get class ability energy with damaging with a melee attack, grant class ability energy when damaging with a nade, and get melee energy when you damage with a grenade. Just kind of get stuff back type stuff. The chest piece here, just resistances. You could maybe slot in some of these fonts here. Of all of these, though, I'd probably only recommend charged up so you can get more armor charge. But for the most part, I just kind of use my chest piece to make me tanky. This is kind of left over from running the Legend campaign, though. I might not need this much tankiness and average content nowadays, but it still feels good. The boots, currently running double absolution recuperation. You could absolutely slot in strand weapon surge down here. And in fact, I'm probably going to toy around with that myself. Keep in mind that does make your armor charge delay over time, which does make the class item work a little less well, because you run double utility kickstart, which does work without having armor charge, but it works a lot better if you do. And this does say when your class ability is fully expended, by the way, which means that it has some weirdness with 6th Coyote, so be careful using this with 6th Coyote, because you need to spend all of your class ability energy, so if you have a little bit extra, I believe stuff like this doesn't proc. So having some weirdness happen with this with Titan melees the other day, where I was using melee kickstart and I wasn't getting a chunk of energy back, nor was my armor charge getting consumed. I think it's because it doesn't technically hit 0 if you have an extra charge like halfway up in there. So keep that in mind if you're using something like Six Coyote for this build instead of, say, the new Strand exotic, but really good. Double utility kickstart just means I get a bunch of energy back, meaning that when I constantly jump and do my dive bomb, and if you don't know what that is, it is snaring slam, you're just getting a bunch of energy back so you can suspend more stuff better. I think the build is great fun. Once again, here's a look at what I am using armor mod wise in one clean place. God, I love this screen. And then here is a look at the Strand subclass in one clean place as well. One last look at the armor mods here. And yeah, that's the build. It's been a lot of fun. I just kind of wanted to put something together really quick now that I have access to all the Strand mods. This is what I've been using and having a lot of fun with. Now that Strand is totally unlocked. You should probably figure out what your own build is that you like, but I think this is great and fun. So like, comment, subscribe, and all that stuff, and I hope to catch you in the next one.